Hello friends, in this video I am going to show you how you can create SMTP server using iRedMail. I already have demonstrated many other methods to create SMTP server like postal SMTP, virtual min, power MTA, mail in a box. In this video I am going to show you how you can use iRedMail. iRedMail is not only robust platform but it gives you lot of flexibility and it is loaded with features. You can create users, you can add additional domains and many more features. So let's not waste the time and get started with installation of iRedMail. For that you need Ubuntu 20.04. So let's go to the screen of my computer, and now here you can see I already have one article prepared for installation of iRedMail on Ubuntu 20.04. So now here is a brief discussion about iRedMail and then the requirement. Obviously you need a domain name and you need a VPS or cloud with minimum 2 GB of RAM. Don't install it on system which has less than 2 GB of RAM, otherwise you might encounter some issues. So let's get the domain name. Now I already have demonstrated videos on how you can get domain name and buy VPS. I'll put the link top here and in the description as well. And now this is the domain name I'll be using today. So and the next is to get the VPS or cloud. So I recommend getting VPS from Contabo. Contabo is the cheapest one. You can also get the VPS from OVH. Most of the VPS and cloud hosting providers nowadays block port 25. So you have to ensure that you buy VPS or cloud with open port 25. Now, so I already have Contabo VPS and I already have installed Ubuntu 20.04. So next step here is to update the DNS records. So let's go to the Namecheap. Now here you can see my DNS is not managed by Namecheap. So what I am going to do is to first change it, because otherwise I'll not be able to manage DNS records with Namecheap. Now once you have done that, you have to go to advanced DNS. In here you have to create few records. So let's go to the article, and in here the first thing would be to create one record which would be of type A, and that is for mail.yourdomainname. So I already have one A record here created, and this is the IP address. Basically that is not the IP address of my server. So what I am going to do is to copy the IP address and paste it here. After that save changes, and so this is how one record you create. Let me show it to you just to make it clear. You go to a record and then type hostname @ paste the IP address and save changes. That is the process to create a record in Namecheap. Almost same steps you have to follow to create records in other domain registrar as well. Anyway, next step is to create MX record, or at least update MX record pointing to mail.yourdomainname with priority 10. So let's do that. Now here actually I already have this MX record present and it is pointing to mail.mydomainname and with priority 10. Just in case, let me show it to you. So here if you click on add new record, this box will appear, and in here you have to in host type @ and then in value you have to type mail.yourdomainname and then priority 10, and then click on add, and it will add one MX record. Next you have to create a text record for SPF entry. So you can copy it, and then basically I have I have SPF record present as well. So let me delete it. and then I am going to add one text record, and then here @ and in value I will paste this one, and I'll add one more thing in it, and I'll type IP4 and then the colon, and after that I'll get the IP address. Alright, so after that I'll save changes. So this is how you add SPF record. Next step is to connect to remote server. So for that you would need an SSH client, either PuTTY or Bitwise. So I already have used PuTTY in many of my videos. In this video I am going to do something different, and I'll use Bitwise this time. So let's download Bitwise. Simply search it on Google, and you will go to download area, and here it will ask you what do you want to download. Now you have to download SSH client. After that, once you have downloaded it, you have to install it. I already have Bitwise, so let me open it. Now on first run you will see these fields are blank. Here you have to paste the IP address in host. So let me get the IP address, and then username root, and then initial method would automatically be either none or password. So you have to make sure that you have selected password, or you can select public key, just in case if your remote server doesn't allow using password to login. So now Contabo allows using password, so I have selected the initial method password, and then I'll get the password. So this is my password, and then I'll paste here. After that, login. Now this warning box will obviously appear. Accept and save it, and it will automatically open terminal console. Just in case if it didn't open, then click on new terminal console, and this box will appear where you have to execute your commands in order to install iRedMail. So now the first command is to switch to root user. Basically I already log in as root user, so this command doesn't mean anything. Anyway, your case could be different, that's why I have this command here. Now after that you need to set the host name. So after mail you have to type your domain name. So let me type it. After that press enter, and then next step is to install Vim editor, and after that execute the next command. Now here you have to make some changes. If you could see, the changes would be something like this: your IP address, then your host name, and then your short host name, which would be mail. So now here you can see IP address is already present. So what I am going to do is to edit this line, and in order to edit with Vim editor you need to press A on your keyboard, A key on your keyboard, and then only you will able to insert anything in this editor. Alright, so now I'll type the host name, which is mail.inlearn.in, and after that space and mail, and next press the escape key on your keyboard, :WQ, and this will save the changes and close the editor. Next, it's time to update the operating system. Remember, this is Ubuntu 20.04 operating system. Just in case you have different operating system, then you need to change it. You can install iRedMail on Ubuntu 18.04 or 20.04. So let's update the system. And let's copy the next command. It could take some time. Alright, so now it's updated. Now next is to upgrade the system. So this part done completely. System has been updated and upgraded successfully. Next step is to install gzip. So now it's already been installed. As you can see, gzip is already the newest version. Next, to get the iRedMail, you have to go to iRedMail website. Alright, and then you go to products, iRedMail download installer. Now in here you have to click on download now, and then you have to get the link from here. Alright, so copy link address, and then here you have to type wget and paste the link address. Basically, the reason to show this step, even though I already have mentioned the same command here, is that iRedMail gets updated time to time. So just in case my article is not updated till date, then you can simply copy this wget or type wget in your command window and then get the link from here, and that's all. After that, press enter and it will download the iRedMail on your remote server. Next here ls stands for list. So if I copy and paste, you can see the file name. So next, copy this line, and here you have to be careful that you should use this file name. Alright, after that, press enter, and if I type ls once again, then you can see I have one folder and its name is iRedMail -1.4.0. So now I will execute this command. So again, here make sure that this folder name matches this folder name, and after that press enter. If I type ls once again, which you can see here, next is to execute this command, and this will begin the installation of iRedMail on your computer, on your server basically. So now iRedMail is going to ask you a couple of questions. I already have shown in this article every questions, so you can either go through my video or you can go through article to follow the questions. And these questions are mostly related to your domain name and passwords, so nothing to be afraid of. So now coming to questions, the first question is whether you want to continue or not. So obviously yes, and then it will ask you to specify a directory. Just accept the default setting. Here also accept the default. Now here it will ask you whether you want to use OpenLDAP, MariaDB or PostgreSQL. So in most cases you will want OpenLDAP, and if you want to run other applications as well, then you might need MariaDB or PostgreSQL. Now here I am going to select OpenLDAP. So for that you have to press the escape key on space key on your keyboard and then press next. Next, here you have to specify your domain name. So here dc equal to inlearn, and then dc equal to in. Here you can also see example, like if your domain name is example.com, then your entry should be something like this: dc equal to example, comma dc equal to com. After that press enter, and now it will ask you the MySQL password, so make your entry, and after that next. And now here it will ask you to specify the mail domain name, so I am going to, after that press next. Now it will ask you the password for postmaster@ your domain name, so I am going to enter the password. After that press enter. And now this is the tricky part. Here it will ask you what are features you want with iRedMail. So now round cube mail obviously you want, because you have to manage your email, or you want to send email, receive email. So basically round cube mail is mandatory. And then next is Sogo. Now if your system having like 2 GB of RAM, 4 GB of RAM, then Sogo, you must not install Sogo. Otherwise it will consume lot of resources and your mail server will not function as intended. So when to install Sogo? I would say when your system having more than 8 GB of RAM, like you have 16 GB of RAM, and that is also recommended by the developers. So when your system having 16 GB of RAM and more than, you should install Sogo, otherwise simply skip it. And then net data, if you want to have system monitor, and then iRedMail, obviously you want to install it to add a domain and manage users and all those things. And next is fail to ban. So this is simple package, so there will not be any harm in installing that. After that click next, and now it will ask you whether you want to continue or not. Here you can see the additional component selection and mail domain name, first mail domain, and everything here. If you made any mistake, then you can cancel it here by typing N and then pressing enter. Now since I want to continue, I will type Y and after that press enter, and the iRedMail installation begin. Now this installation quite takes some time, so I am going to pause this video here and I'll continue once installation is about to finish. Alright, now you can see installation is almost finished and it's asking you few final questions. So now the question is, would you like to use firewall rules provided by iRedMail? So there is no issue in that and you can answer yes. After that press enter and it will ask you whether you want to restart firewall now, and for that obvious answer is yes. And now installation is finished, and finally it will ask you to reboot your system. For that type reboot and system will get rebooted. Now you have to wait for a couple of minutes while system gets rebooted. Now my system has been rebooted and let me open the terminal console and let's go to mail.in/iRedMail. Basically URL is also given here, so you can copy URL from here and make changes in your domain name and then go to that URL. You will get this privacy error warning obviously. Alright, so in Google Chrome I am not getting option to proceed because in learn.in is obviously, you can see that Google Chrome is saying that mail.inlearn normally uses encryption, obviously, which is true, but I will have to open another browser. So let's open Microsoft Edge and go to this URL. Alright, so here continue to mail.inlearn.in and the username is postmaster@inlearn.in and then the password. and after that press enter. Now you can see this is the iRedMail dashboard, and here you have few options. First of all, the dashboard will tell you about system information and number of domains which is configured with iRedMail, and then you can go to domains and accounts, and here you will find one domain, and which is obviously I have one domain, and if you want to add another domain, simply go to add domain, and you have to enter the domain name and it will add it. And the next tab is admins. So I have like one admin at this time. If you want to add more admins, simply go to click on add admin and then enter the admin mail address and password, and it will add additional admins. And then in activities you have admin log, and in here now to create additional user, you go to add tab and then click on user, and let's say one user care, and then type the password, and then again type the password. Alright, after that you can specify mailbox quota if you like, otherwise simply click on add, and this will create a user account. So that's how you create users in iRedMail. So now coming back, now to access your webmail you have to go to your host name, which is mail.inlearn.in, and then you have to type mail and press enter, and this round cube login interface will open. Here type your email ID and the password, and then login. So now this is how you log in round cube. Next step is to get the DKIM record and enter it into your DNS records. So to get the DKIM record, you have to copy this command and then execute it on your remote server. And now you can see this is the DKIM key first part. So let me copy it. Go to Namecheap advanced DNS section, and there you have to add a text record. So I have like past text record, so let me delete it first, and then I'll go and click on add record, and then in host I'll type which I just copied from here, and then I'll copy this whole DKIM key and I'll paste in the value, and after that I'll save changes. So now DKIM key is added to the DNS records. You have to add one more record, that is DMARC record. So for that all you need to do is to enter this in host underscore DMARC, and then in value type this value. So you can see I hope this value is visible to you, and that DNS part is done. Next step would, alright, so that much in this article, and I have written one more article for iRedMail where you will learn to install SSL certificates. So now starting with this article, you have to execute the first command, this one, to get the SSL certificate. So let's execute it. Alright, so it will ask you confirmation, answer yes, and next let's copy the next command. Alright, so you have to copy till this part and then enter your domain name. So, and I'll type the domain name. After that, enter. Now it will ask you the email address. I recently created one email address, so I am going to pass it on. So care@. After that, press enter. Now it will ask you whether you agree or not. So I agree, and then wait for some time. Now here you see the result. Dry run was successful. So now after that dry run was successful, it's time to install the certificate. So let's get the certificate, and again you have to type the domain name and press enter. Now it will again ask you email address, so just type it, and then it will ask you whether you agree or not. So obviously you have to agree, and it will ask you one more question, whether you want to share your email address or not. So answer yes or no, and after that it will procure the Let's Encrypt free SSL certificate. But you have to do few more steps to complete the installation of SSL certificate. So running the next command. Now to use the SSL certificate, you have to execute these two commands. So let's copy them one by one. And after that you have to be careful here. Basically you have to change the domain name in here. So now you can see, like here I have to make change, and it has to be in learn. Alright, so after that press enter, and then next command. Alright, so once again here. Alright, so next you have to start few services. Copy all those commands and paste it once. It will start executing all of them one by one, and at last you have to press enter. Now all the services have been restarted. If I go and refresh this page, alright, so let's not refresh this page and open it in Chrome. Alright, so now you can see the SSL certificate valid, and I have to execute one more command to automatically renew the certificate. So copy this command and alright, so execute it here. Now it will ask you to select the editor. So let's select the nano editor, which is the simplest one, and at the end of this all you need to do is to copy this line of command and then paste here, save it and exit the editor. So now this installation of iRedMail done successfully. It's time to test it. So let's do that. For that, open mail tester and get the email address. Okay, I got 4 mails as well. Alright, so I logged in as postmaster. So when you log in as postmaster in Roundcube, you will get all the system emails as well. So basically let me log out and log in as care. Alright, so I am going to compose one email and then test. This is test email. So click on send and mail sent successfully, then check your score. Now it is going to load. In the meantime, I am going to open Gmass to test the SMTP settings, obviously, and here, and then port would be 587, security should be SSL, and the username and the password, and then from address. Alright, so spam test result is 8.9 out of 10. So let's see why. Alright, so it says that reverse DNS is not set. Obviously I haven't set the reverse DNS, and you can see that SPF passed, DKIM passed, DMRC passed. Only the reverse DNS part is not set. So all you need to do is to set the reverse DNS. For that you have to log into your cloud hosting provider or VPS hosting provider, and then in my case Contavo, go to reverse DNS management, and in here this is the IP address. So I am going to edit it, and I'll type mail.inlearn.in. after that save it, and it will set the reverse DNS. Alright, so now testing with mail test are done. So what I am going to do is to test with app mail dev. So now here I'll go to DKIM test tool, and let's copy the email address. Alright, so next, test it. Alright, so it says that there is some error in SSL or TLS connection. So okay, let's select TLS and then test it. Alright, so in security you have to use TLS or start TLS, and port would be 587, and then you can see that email was sent successfully. Now coming to this testing tool, you can see SPF pass, DKIM pass, and also okay, reverse DNS is not yet propagated. It could take some time, but all other settings are fine. So this is how you create SMTP server in SMTP server with iRedMail. And if you want to use this SMTP settings in MailWiz, obviously you can use that, no problem at all. I already have demonstrated how you can use MailWiz in some videos, so I'll put the link in the description. If you like, you can follow that. Now before wrapping up this session, if you have any questions regarding this video, if you faced any issue, anything, or any of my teachings, you have to go to forum section in here on inGuide website, and then you have to open a topic, and I'll answer it as soon as possible. If you have any questions or queries regarding services, I'll post the WhatsApp number in the description as well as on the video screen as well. So you can contact me for services only. But if you have question, you should go to forum on inGuide website, and I'll answer as soon as possible. So thank you once again, and see you in the next video.